I am the host of this weekly webinar of LawSikho, where we talk about all things law. And today we have with us Saket Jain. He's an advocate at the Supreme Court of India. And myself and Saket, we will be discussing navigating the Supreme Court, insights and strategies. Uh, I would like to tell you that Saket has also served as a law clerk in the Supreme Court um, for Justice K.M. Joseph, and he has also practiced in the chambers of Gaurav Agarwal. And now he has his own independent practice. So, welcome, Saket, and thank you so much for joining us today. So, Saket, as I understand and as I just introduced you, you were a law clerk at the Supreme Court before you got into practicing law, litigation. And so, please do tell me, how did you choose a career in law? Like, what was it? What was the impetus? What was the reason? What was the thought behind it that made you think, okay, I want to study law and this is what I want to do?
Yeah, first of all, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. So, yeah, I would say, the trust with the law started when I was doing my BCom honors. I did my BCom honors from Kirodimal College. So, I got introduced to the business law. I still remember I read a book by Mr. M.C. Kuchel that was regarding business law.
Mhm.
So I really used to enjoy that. So that was just in the back of the mind. At that time, I had never thought, that I would be pursuing law. So my, after BCom honors, I wanted to go for civil services. So I completed my BCom honors in 2012, and 12 to 14, I was preparing for civil services, and so I obviously I had a unsuccessful stint there during civil services preparation, but somehow this field of law always fascinated me because you cannot just exclude law from any news or anything. Even you're preparing for civil services, you'll be reading constitution, you'll be reading polity, you'll be reading daily newspaper. Out of say 4 to 5 out of 10 news will be related to law. Supreme Court said this, High Court said this. So this all used to I used to feel very sort of excited about that. But then 2014, I took a call that I wanted to pursue law. So that's how I came for law. And 14 to 17, I finished my law. And then after that, I, worked with a senior advocate in Delhi High Court, then an advocate on record. So, I basically, I would say the first thing, like a little lesson for me also, and there are many, who might be facing the same which I faced, that while doing law, I was also a little confused along with the preparation of my civil services. So I joined law thinking that, I'll just take it as a degree and simultaneously I would be preparing for civil services. So my advice here is never do that. Never keep your, it'll distract you, and you'll end up doing nothing. Neither you'll be focusing well on law nor on civil services. So it's just that if you want to prepare for civil services, just focus on that. Take that risk what is involved in. If you try to minimize your risk, that's also has this, I'm not saying it may will be, not be successful everyone, but just my opinion is, if you divert too much from your goal, it might be a little problematic for you. So I was trying to do sort of both law as well as civil services. So, but then eventually I took a call. Then I started law, and I, being a a first generation lawyer, and I'll tell you very honestly, during my 3 years of LLB, I did not do a single internship because I wanted to still appear for civil services. So I thought I don't need to, because you never think at that time you will not clear the exam. So I did not do any internship. So I directly started under a senior advocate without any experience, nothing knowing, nothing, absolutely nothing. But then slowly you get interested, you start learning, and slowly you sort of move up the ladder. Then after that, I worked with an AOR, and still I would say, however that journey looks, but I was still not very sure, because you feel terribly stuck. You feel, people, your other batchmates are doing so well. You did not do a single internship. How will you start now? What is the way forward? There's no one to help you. But I guess, you just have to, stick around, and things usually fall in place. And, it might take little time. So I never imagined that I'll get an opportunity to work with the Supreme Court judge. And I got that opportunity. And then I started my clerkship. And after clerkship I worked with the chamber. And so now, yeah, I'm practicing independently.
A bit uncertain, but and rocky start to your career in law, as
Definitely.
said by you, but definitely way more stable, and you found your niche now. So all's well that ends well, isn't it? What really stands out to me, yes, you went for BCom, you had different plans, law happened, um, and then, but this clerkship that you did at Supreme Court, I'm extremely interested to know how did that happen? How did you get that opportunity? And when you got that opportunity, what did you do to make sure that you give your best at it, something that you had never even thought about? How was that?
Yes. So when I was working with an advocate on record, I used to appear in the Supreme Court as a junior counsel. So then I got introduced with this concept of clerkship. So which is, the term borrowed from the U.S. Supreme Court. In U.S. Supreme Court, there this clerkship is a very prestigious job, very prestigious. And so then I read about it. Then I got to know, that it's a one of its kind experience. So one should try for that. But usually, what is the scenario about clerkship in India is, so one way is to write an exam. Okay, so you can write an exam for the clerkship. After that, you get an interview call. You sit for the interview, and after that, if you're selected, then you're allotted to a particular judge. But at that time, I had missed the deadline for the exam, so that was not an option for me. And usually the other option might be through some recommendation or some connection. Maybe you have previously interned there, somebody there might recommend you. So I was not in that category as well. So then I thought, let's and that there's normal conventional ways people write emails. So on a practical note, in a Supreme Court judge's office, you get some thousand mails. No one going to it's not practically possible to read each and every email, because a lot of students apply there, even for the internship. Read about the clerkship. So then I personally thought, let's try something different here. So though I sent the email, I thought of meeting the judge directly. So yeah, this was a little unconventional, but even I was aware that obviously I will not be given an entry to a judge's house also. So how is that going to be possible? But nevertheless, I said there is no harm in trying. So somehow I got the personal secretary number of three Supreme Court judges through some friend. So I tried talking to them. Two of them did not respond. They said, this is not a proper way. Okay, you should apply through the formal channel, which I did. Which I already did, and I was trying, but obviously I did not get any response. But then there was one personal secretary. I even want to take his name also, OP Sharma. So he was attached with Justice KM Joseph. When I talked to him, he was very nice to me, unlike many people there. So he was very nice to me. He asked me about it and everything. Then I said, "Sir, I have sent an email, and I'm interested in doing clerkship." So at that time, he said, "Sir has not shifted to his place. He's staying in the guest house, and I don't think so. He's needing any, clerk right now." So even I was very sure this is not going to happen. So usually I used to send some one or two reminders to him. And then simultaneously I was working with an AOR. So then very honestly, at that time I took a call that I don't think so law is meant for me. I don't think so I'll be able to succeed in it. So let's take a call, cut the chase, and maybe I'll do something else, but I am not going to pursue litigation. But then last time I again called to the PA, says if it's possible, anyway I'm going back my hometown, so can I meet sir once? This is Joseph. He said, all right, that can happen. Okay. So I just went to meet him. So this was the first time I was ever going to meet a Supreme Court judge. And I was very confident for the simple reason because I was very sure that that's not going to happen. So I'll just meet. For me, meeting a Supreme Court judge is a very, good thing. Like it's sort of achievement for me. So I'll just go meet him, say hi, and I'll come back. So then I went. I still remember when I entered his chamber, he had this smile. He asked me, where are you from? What did you do? So, are you a gold medalist of Delhi University? So I said, no, sir, I'm not a gold medalist of Delhi University. I was a gold medalist in my college. I was a college topper in BCom Honors. That's the first question he asked. Glad he didn't ask much about law because then he would have definitely sent me out. So yeah, at that time. And then he asked me it was a very, comfortable sort of conversation. He asked me a few things around, where did you practice and, where did you apply? What are your interests and everything? Normal. So I didn't press it much. And I just said, sir, I really want to work with you. And so after 2 or 3 days, I got a call that you can join.
How
So
wonderful.
yeah. So then I joined my clerkship. So yeah, so there I would say the whole thing changed. And for me, the lesson here was you need one good mentor who can just push you through, who can just tell you stick around, everything is going to be fine. So, at that time he was there. He used to ask me some basic questions. I did not know answers to those basic questions also. And I used still remember I used to say, sir, I'm very sorry. I know I should have known, but I don't know. So I'm very sorry. So he used to say, doesn't matter, Sakit. At your age, I did not know even this much. So like coming from him, such humble personality, and that you gives you, motivation, courage of different level. So then I started working there for initial 8 to 9 months. I went for all 7 days. So my schedule used to be 9 a.m. in the morning to the 11 p.m. in the night, and I really used to enjoy. So those 8 9 months, I would say the best part of my clerkship, and there was no another clerk because every judge used to have three law clerks, and I was the only one there. So, and Supreme Court clerkship is very unique in its experience. Not that it's mandatory, but if one gets an opportunity to do the clerkship, it's one of its kind. The diversity of matters you get, because even if let's suppose you work with an advocate, you'll be dealing with a particular kind of cases, so you'll have experience only in that. But while you do the clerkship, you have experience of all kind of cases, be it civil, criminal, property, arbitration, rent matters, or constitutional or public law matters. So and work of the so law clerk is a sort of midpoint between bench and bar. So you have a seat reserved for you in the Supreme Court. On right side is the bench, left side is sorry, right side is the bench, left side is the bar, and you
Mm-hmm.
get to hear so many people. And as a daily routine, you have to prepare the matters. Okay, you have to make a brief. So you'll
Mm-hmm.
read the file, you'll make a brief, and you have to brief the judge about the matter. Then obviously questions would follow. So other than that, you do various kinds of research, not even Indian case laws, foreign case laws. You help the judge in sort of writing speech. You give your research that eventually helps in the judge in writing judgments. And I think it's a this job prepares you for life in law, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
a wonderful way to put it. Yes.
yeah. So this actually prepares you. And other than that, you also get to know about the entire Supreme Court functioning in and out, how a
Mm-hmm.
matter is filed and how it travels and how it actually culminates into a judgment. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a great experience. It's a great experience, I would say.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you, having heard you describe it. And everyone I've spoken to who has either clerkship experience or who aspires to have one, yeah, everybody swears by it that there's nothing like clerkship if you want to learn and grow. And speaking of learning and growing, so a part of your responsibilities as a law clerk would, to assist the honorable justices with their research and case studies and those analysis. Could you tell me a little bit about what are your approaches for case studies, analysis, drawing up reports, and those? What kind of skills help you do this part of the job well? Because case law research analysis, it becomes such an important part. of not just your law school, your practice, whether as a junior counsel or as a senior counsel. And but I have seen personally, you might have also seen people struggle with it. That's why this question.
Yeah,
What are those
definitely.
strategies that work?
See, because naturally I got to know in the clerkship that what should I have done back in the law so that I should
Hmm.
not be facing these problems now, which I faced. See, eventually it all, starts from your basics, that is your LLB. What happens is the curriculum over there is very different from what you actually practice in the courts. It's very different. That's more of a theoretical aspect. You prepare for the exam, and you just sort of cram the case laws and you go write it there, but that is not going to help you out there. So the basic, before having any skill, the basic requirement is the reading and habit of reading. You should have that habit. You should be able to read 10 to 12 files a day if you have to sustain yourself in the clerkship. And that is different from the other research and judgments you anyway have to read. All right. So during LLB, whenever so the point here is, suppose you are studying some criminal law concept, you are reading, say, let's suppose a section 299 300, you are reading a case law. So read it in a proper and a thoroughly manner. Try to imagine things. Imagination is what, it's a foremost requirement of a lawyer. And that eventually helps you out there. And plus extensive reading, just read anything out there, anything out there. That reading habit is very important. Doesn't matter even if you're reading a Harry Potter. If you going to be successful here, you need to have a reading habit. It's very much required. So yeah, you should be very clear with your basics, because if you're working at the Supreme Court, it will be presumed that you know the basics. You're not starting from the trial court. You will have before you a trial court judgment, a first appellate court judgment, and a high court judgment. You yourself, as a law clerk, in your limited way, have to analyze those judgments, prepare a brief, and then you have to brief the Supreme Court judge what are the fallacies in these judgments. So you cannot take that chance. You have to be very clear with the basics, very clear with the concepts. So you need to have good hold over it. And coupled with the reading, you need to stay updated. These days it's very, you have live law, you have bar and bench, you have LawSikho, many other platforms. You can update yourself with that. And because it's a evolving field. Daily you will have 10 new cases which are going to have repercussions in maybe in your practice or what work you are doing. So you just cannot take the excuse of not updating yourself. Okay. And then at workload is very heavy, undoubtedly. Okay. You should be on your toes. You will have to be on your toes. There's no other way. And you're not going to get great time over there to acclimatize or adjust yourself. From the very first day you'll be handed over the files, you need to be very clear about it. And the other thing is the confidence, because in the starting also you will feel it's very difficult. I don't know whether I'll be able to sustain it. I still remember I got one matter. It was the beginning. Okay, so there was some 5 volume matter running into some 2,000 pages. Okay, so I was very, I was scared. So, and very convoluted facts and all. I just told sir, I don't think so. I'll be able to do that matter because it's very complex and I'm not able to understand. Because you get nervous, then you'll not be able to understand the matter. So I still remember he told me, is this file in English language? I said, yes, sir. So what else you need? It's not French, no. Are you able to read it? I said, yes, sir. Then what else you need? Read it twice, thrice, or maybe 5 times. Come to me when you understand it. You will understand it. So that's the way out. So that's the approach. Now coming to the research part, research is a for a law clerk. It's a very, I would say, important part. It's a main job of a law clerk, because a judge cannot have time for everything. He will directly give you a point of research, and you'll have to get the case laws, and you'll have to know that which case has been is no more a good law, whether some other judgment has come in place, and what is the position abroad, how's the US Supreme Court has dealt with the particular point of law. So, I mean, these days, in law schools, you get yourself acquainted with the various softwares like SEC Online or Manupatra, or I mean, there are LexisNexis also. There are many others, and these really help you with that. But I would still say these softwares obviously help you, but the basic at that time, I remember our great judges of 1950s, 60s, there never used to be any kind of software. Okay. And if you'll read those judgments, you will find a US Supreme Court cases quoted so nicely, because now with the just a single click you will get all kind of cases on a particular topic. At that time, it was I would say sort of a blessing in disguise, because you will have to read the entire commentary. You yourself will read the books. These days obviously there are shortcuts for that, but there are certain disadvantages attached to that also. Maybe you're fast, you'll do it quickly, but so never compromise your reading. Read the basic first, read the barak, read the judgment, okay, and then go on the software, okay, because direct
Mhm.
I understand you don't have time, that much time also, but this thing should be in mind that you just cannot compromise the reading from the commentary and all. So coupled with, obviously you have to stay updated with the technology also. These days, Chat GPT or AI, so many challenges have thrown up. If you're not updated with the technology, you are going to lag behind. That is for sure. But I mean, still couple it with the other things also. Maybe little. Conventional way, but that should not be completely given a go by, I would say.
Very well said. Definitely. Like no shortcuts when it comes to quality.
Yeah.
I agree with you totally on this. You mentioned something about what we read in law schools or what we learn in law schools being just a part of what law is. A huge part of law is what you see in reality on ground on a day-to-day basis. So when you started your work as a law clerk, and as you mentioned, it's between the bar and the bench. So from that perspective, what did you see? The reality versus what's in the books?
See, as a law clerk, your job is basically, you as I already told you, what's your job profile, research. So so the best part is I used to sit in the court. I used to observe various lawyers. So let's suppose I have prepared a case. Okay, in my as per my own knowledge, I have briefed the judge about it, and next day you see that case arguing by some big lawyer. Okay, so then you will get to hear, okay, this can also be a good argument which you yourself never thought about. So you will just note down that argument. Okay, then other side would say something. So this adversarial part of litigation, and you are a witness to that, and that too in the apex court of the country, that itself is a sort of privilege. Okay, and as said by many people, you learn while listening to others. You just have to
Yes.
listen. At that time you have to observe intelligently. You note down various things, and knowledge is a different thing, and your skill set is a different thing, and court craft that you learn. So as per my limited analysis, what I want to say is, court craft is something that that you will learn when you listen to other good lawyers arguing. So let's suppose a lawyer argued something, a judge asked a question. So that he might not have a good answer to it, but he will still give an answer which is very good. So you would say, wow, like, how has he just did that. So that comes obviously with the reading over the years of experience. But court craft, handling courts questions, all those things, you learn there. You have to sit patiently there. There will be very boring matters going on, but you have to have interest in that. You need to have a passion for that. And many times you learn something differently. A judge is asking a question, a lawyer will come up something, so various kind of strategy. Let's suppose as a lawyer I don't know about a particular question which judge has asked, so I would simply say that, my lord, I'm just completing my argument, can I answer it later, thinking that judge might forget this, he will not ask. But eventually, to know it, and he will again ask, Mr. Counsel, you didn't reply to that. So like various kinds of things, that you see. And I mean, plus obviously your skill set, your command over language, and your knowledge, your depth. So I would reading one book. I would just if you permit me,
Sure,
I'll just
please, please.
narrate a small incident. So there was a lawyer called Kanhaiya Lal Mishra. Okay, so he was not that famous as a lawyer, but he was a great lawyer. So he was an advocate general for state of UP. Okay, so this we are talking about roughly about 70s.
Oh,
So 70s or I mean later initial 80s or something. So yeah, so he was Advocate General for State of UP. So on very few occasions he used to appear before the Supreme Court. At that time, Supreme Court judges used to tell him, Mr. Mishra, you should appear in the Supreme Court quite often because with your quality of arguments, our judgments quality improves. Okay, so he was that good a lawyer, and he had a background in English literature. And what kind of background he had, I'll just tell you. So at that time, before IAS, Indian Administrative Services exam, there used to be ICS, Indian Civil Services Examination. Okay, so he appeared for ICS, and in ICS there was an exam for English, okay, language and literature. So that was for 150 marks. So Mr. Mishra scored 150 out of 150, and ICS.
wonderful.
And mind you, ICS was designed so that Indians should not come for this coveted post. They were designed in such a manner. Such was the difficulty level. Okay, so this guy here scores 150 out of 150, and his paper was examined by none other than the head of the department, dean of the English department of University of Oxford. Okay, so he examined his paper and he sent a personal letter to Mr. Mishra. Okay, he said, Dear Kanayalal Mishra, it is us Englishmen who ruled over your country, but it is you, Mr. Kanayalal Mishra, who ruled over English. So that was the,
Wow,
yeah, so such was the,
commendable.
and our constitutional forefathers all were very good lawyers, very great lawyers. And I mean the foremost thing is you need to read autobiographies of all of them whenever you feel low in the profession, including myself. If you'll read that, you'll get to know everyone had a bad time initially, everyone. Even people like MC Setalwadi was the first attorney general for India, and his father was none other than Chimanlal Setalwad, the great lawyer. And he at one time thought of leaving the profession, talking to his dad that father, I don't think so I'll be able to succeed in this matter. I'm working with a senior but I'm not getting any matters. So he said, you stick around for 6 more months, maybe you'll do something. And I mean, after 6 months, he got some matter, and rest is the history. He was the most respected lawyer our country ever had. I mean, he had a reputation all over the globe. So, I mean, this is how it goes. And yeah, I mean, being a clerkship also, and as a so I'll just continue it further a little bit.
Sure.
So after clerkship, as I worked with a lawyer, I mean, a great office I worked with. I was very lucky, and as a junior counsel, also you learn many things. You get to argue the matters. Okay, you need to do the draft, because see, clerkship is not per se practice. It's a different. Even after doing a clerkship, you have a bar for some time. While you are clerking, you cannot practice. You cannot have a drafting work. You cannot brief someone. You just have to focus on your research and other work. So after your clerkship, you need to work with, say, a lawyer, where you will learn the other part of the profession, how to argue the matter, how to draft a matter. Okay, and there are where other things which you never learn in your LLB degree, like about the court fees. Okay, how to pay the court fees, and how to go about the jurisdiction. Okay, and what you need to be the strategy, how to put the annexures, how to do a cross examination, how to do a chief examination. This you will read in law, but actually how it is done you will only learn when you learn from a lawyer. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you go there, you'll make many mistakes. You'll get a good scolding from the judge also, or from the lawyer also. But like, this is the general way of that's how you get to know. But yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
the lesson here is, it's very important to do various kinds of internships while you are doing at law. Try to do every possible internship. Work with the trial court lawyer, work with the high court lawyer, work with an advocate on record, work with a senior advocate, work with a high court judge, work with a Supreme Court judge, have a corporate internship, work with the law firm litigation department. With these 7-8 internship, you'll get a whole idea about it. Still, you'll be unsure, what field to choose, but still, it'll give you some idea. Because
Mhm.
I see many people simply neglecting, let's suppose, the judicial examination, saying they don't want to enter into, because I see, I mean, it's a very prestigious and a very good thing, but
It
just
is.
because we lack exposure in the knowledge with regard to that, we take this decision that we're not going to do that. So the idea here is not to follow anyone or what everyone is saying. Have your own say, and you will have your own say when you yourself will see through it. You'll go a law firm, then you'll have experience. You'll work with a judge, you will have your experience. Not because I am saying clerkship is good, you should also feel that clerkship is good. That you'll only get to know when you'll have a exposure. You'll do a internship, or you'll do some 2-month internship where you can do an assessment internship. If they like you, they can give you a clerkship also. So all those experiences, you need to have along with the LLB, so that you'll be able to make a proper call as to what is to be done and what next lies for you in the future.
Definitely agree with you on that. Internships are so important. They're not just for building up our CV, excuse me. They're not just for building up our CV, but literally to learn. We learn so much, and I don't think anything can replace that internship experience.
Definitely.
And speaking of taking a call or deciding your niche, um, now that you are yourself a practicing advocate at Supreme Court, could you tell me about what areas of law do you practice in, and how come these areas? Why these areas?
Yes, so I mainly practice in arbitration,
Mm-hmm.
service law, public law, recruitment matters, and so I've done various property matters, criminal law matters also. See, as a first generation lawyer, when so I'm not meaning to say that you should always play a victim by saying a first generation lawyer, but I'm just telling you, as a first generation lawyer, you have to have your priorities set. So important thing is, let's suppose you're working in a chamber, you will have to make a call whether you want to go independent, at what time do you want to be independent, what is the backup plan for you, because being independent means you are foregoing your salary, which you are already getting from a chamber, that you will not be getting anymore. And how are you going to procure the work? Okay, so let's suppose if you have to practice in Delhi, so what is the way out for you? How will you get work? You just need to think about it. So ideally what is done is, you work with the chamber, and slowly, I mean, there are many good chambers who allow you to work independently also, side by side. So you do chamber work also, and side by side you get your own matters also. So I mean, try doing that slowly. You will build your own practice. When you feel confident about it, then start your independent thing. So and there may be different approaches. It depends on person to person, because there's this some something I would like to share about this. Our profession is generally the salary part. Okay, so let's suppose if you're working with a law firm, you'll get a good salary. I would say a decent salary, even with a tier 2 or tier 3 law firm. But
Definitely.
let's suppose you're working with a lawyer, you may not get that a good salary. Let's suppose a person who is not from Delhi, okay, and he's getting some 15,000 per month. It is very difficult for him to sustain in the profession. I mean, to meet his own expenses. I would say, let's suppose if that person has no financial difficulty from home, and he's doing work which is truly giving him learning, he should go forward with that. Even if you are earning less, you have to take some money from your dad or your mom. Please take that, because the important part is the learning, right? If you're learning well,
Initially, yes.
yeah, initially, if you are able to take that money from home, then you should please do that. Don't compromise on your learning. Let's suppose there is a chamber, there's a great work, good work. For some reason you're not getting, you're sort of underpaid. Doesn't matter. If you are good, you will have your name somewhere down the line. That's not going to be a problem. But there might be a genuine difficulty, a person who might not have that good financial situation at house, and you have to sustain in Delhi as well, you obviously need 25 to 30,000 minimum to sustain yourself. And in that case, obviously, you should try the many chambers who pay well also. In case you don't, I mean, I would say, just again, don't compromise on learning. There are many ample opportunities available. You can do some, online drafting. You can write an article for money. You can do n number of things. This is the price you pay, in comparison to somebody who is getting, a lot more money than them. Your starting might be little difficult. Okay, you'll have to manage your finances. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be very difficult. So you can easily, I would not easily, I would say, you can have something, part-time job, or not even part-time job, part-time you can do some sort of drafting. Or there are, very various avenues available where you can write for money, like, you write an article, you are paid, word basis or something. So you, that will give you some money, so that you are able to focus on your main part, that is practice. These initial 2 years are very important for you, very important for you. And I mean, even I myself is not a good example to say that. But these days, many people would, you ask them what do you want to do, they will directly say, we want to make a career in international commercial arbitration, or this law or that law, tech law. That's all fine, but I would still say, never compromise on the experience of that trial court. Never. I also missed that because I did not have much of a trial experience. But when I got independent, I did many of trial court matters. So I learned a great deal from it. This is actually, the procedure is where you learn in the trial court only. You're never going to learn the procedure in the High Court, Supreme Court in a way. So, for example, in the criminal matters, trial takes place at the, I mean, trial court only, lower court only, not in the high court.
Yeah.
You will have cross, you will have chief, you'll learn everything there only. So never, keep this that aim, that you are going to directly start at Supreme Court of India. That is fine. Even if you want to practice in Supreme Court, no one is going to stop you from there. But you will have those experience in initial years of trial court and then high court. It is going to greatly help you over there. You will be very thorough with the procedure. You will have, you'll actually know the matter, how it has traveled here, rather than, you will not have that a bird, 360 view of the matter. Because if you have practiced in the trial court, it will be really, really, really helpful for you. I have more respect for the lawyers who are practicing in the trial court. I would say it's a very hard way, because there you learn,
Yes.
you don't get paid. And fees are also comparatively, clients don't pay you that much as a trial court lawyer. It's a very difficult to sustain. But if you spend those 2 3 years there, you are going to have a great career. There's no doubt about that. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask you more about your trial experience, and we'll come back to your current practice in a bit. So, like you said, best learning will happen at the trial court when it's about procedures, right, and how it happens. Do you recall any such incidents or any such experiences that you had in trial court that now, when you look back, it stands out as, it was a formative lesson for you? Do you have any such? I'm
So
sure there will be many, but if you could just
yeah,
share
yeah,
some.
yeah. So I mean, I remember I was doing like, just to answer your previous question also. So as a lawyer, I would say, that's my opinion, is when you're independently practicing, you don't get to choose in which area you want to work, right? Let's suppose, even if you get an arbitration matter, you're not going to say no, obviously. And you will work hard on it, you will do the matter. So it all depends what kind of matters you get. Like, initially I used to do a lot of arbitration, I got many arbitration matters. So then I you know I got some. I still remember I got some matter in the RERA. That was my first of the matters. I did one matter in RERA, and I was successful in that. Then you eventually, some person called me saying that, sir, I heard you. You argued very well. So I want to give you this matter of mine. So then I got matter. Then I got many matters out of that. So that's how, generally you pick up things and all. Even if you don't have connections, if you're good, somebody somewhere down the line will see you and he'll approach you. that is fine. So yeah, I did a lot of arbitrations, and I was, doing one arbitration matter in Saket Court. When you challenge the award under the Section 34 of the Arbitration Act. So it was before a commercial court, and so made it a habit. And even if you think that on that day nothing is going to happen in the matter, you have to prepare at your best. Okay, so I still remember one day I thought the other side is anyway going to take a time, so I don't think so I need to prepare the matter. Okay, so I'll just go. Anyway, other side is going to take the time, so I'll be just still about it. I'll just go on. So at that time, matter was argued, and I had to argue 1 and around 90 minutes. So I was not prepared. Sort of, I knew the matter, but and it so luckily it went so well that I got a very good relief in that matter. So at one time you will go easy on yourself, you are going to create troubles for yourself. So you have to prepare, even if you think that nothing is going to happen on that particular day. You have to prepare yourself well, that even when you think that matter is not going to be argued, it is going to be argued. That is for sure. You just cannot take any liberties. You just cannot take any liberties. And yeah, I mean, it's a very good experience, and a very good experience that way. And I still remember I was arguing one case in the Lucknow court. Okay, I was hired for some outstation matter, and I went there. And out of many experience, I would say it was the most difficult judge that I ever encountered. Okay, so
Okay.
he started arguing. He asked me a particular date, which I was not aware, for the reason that a particular document was not there, and even client was not aware. And I was, sort of briefed in the morning only, so it was little hodgepodge. And he got really angry. Okay, and he said, "How can you not remember the date? Probably you have not read the file and everything." So he made all kind of comments. So I kept my cool. I kept my patience. Okay. Then he asked me something. Okay. Then I replied. Okay. After that, I started arguing my matter. Then he would, interrupt me again and again, and he would say, and this is not the way to argue. You should argue this. So as a counsel, you might feel that you're losing your confidence. How will you do? But I somehow kept my patience. I didn't lose my cool. Okay, I was arguing. Then at one time I remember, no, 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 you're not listening to what you're saying. You are, you keep on blabbering. You're not hearing to us. You please sit down. We're not going to hear you. So I sat down. Okay. Then after 5 minutes, I was again asked to argue. I argued, and so I thought I'm not going to get relief in this matter. Maybe judge was really angry with me or whatever it was. But when he dictated the order, he noted everything, every word of it. What I argued, he noted every of my contention, and he gave a very good order. So yeah, for
Amazing.
me that time initially, if I confess, I was very scared that I'm going to lose this matter.
I
Okay,
can imagine.
and the way the behavior was. So maybe it's not difficult as it looks. Okay, so I mean, yeah, that was not a best of behavior I encountered, but still, I think I kept my patience. I didn't lose my cool, and I just simply, as a lawyer, you had to, respect the bench, but at the same time, you have to keep in the mind you have a duty towards your client. You cannot compromise that. But eventually, so yeah, this was also a kind of learning. Okay, you are not going to have an easy way out there. Maybe you'll have a tough judge, or maybe you'll have a bad case. If even if you have a good judge, so yeah, it all depends how you strategize, how you use your presence of mind. So yeah, so
Yeah.
that's,
Yes,
that's
certainly. And one thing I realized when you were talking about this particular experience is that really, we worry about things going wrong in the sense that, okay, some technicality where I won't be able to speak or present, or it could be anything else. And we always think it's something external that is going to affect the outcome, when in reality it's all about how you handle yourself, how you regulate your feelings in that moment.
exactly.
That's what matters even more than any technicality, I would say, at this point, listening to
Yeah,
that experience.
yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. It was very eye-opening for myself also, and not just in terms of litigation, but just like day to day in the life also. That you cannot let these things shake you up. You got a job and you gotta do it.
Definitely.
Um, and so yeah, we've been talking about there are certain procedures that we need to know. There are certain ways of working that we need to know. We need to be up to date with our readings and our knowledge, and reading comprehension is extremely important. What I want to ask you is, what are some general challenges a young advocate faces when he goes on his own, starts his own practice or her own practice? Can you speak a little about those challenges, please?
Definitely. So even even before that, I would just like to speak about something. When you complete your law, okay,
Hmm.
you work with the lawyer. Okay, these days I would say even getting job in a good chamber is not very easy, because
It's
the,
not.
yeah, so the system is such that it's a very sort of intricate system is such that you will keep applying, you will not get any reply, you feel very insecure. So since you have completed a law now, technically you are a professional, right? And you are still struggling to get even a basic job. Okay, so this is the like a foremost problem faced by everyone, obviously. And even getting a job in the law firm is even more difficult. Okay, so many people would say you need to have contacts, need to know the right person. Only through recommendation you can get through. That is all there. I mean, no one can deny that. Then coupled with the fact you're not going to get a good salary also, even if you get a job. So these are the I mean, the starting struggles you I mean going to face. And one more important thing is, this is, I would say, a sad part about the profession also. There are many offices you will have toxicity.
Mm,
I don't know
yeah.
anyone talks about it or not. It's very difficult to sustain in some of the offices. I would say I myself, so which I was narrating my experience. I did not share, but I would say there were three offices in between. I
Mm,
worked there for 1 to 2 days. I left the job after 2 days. Okay, so then there were people out there who were telling me, no, 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 I think you lack courage, you're not confident about yourself, how can you run away from such situations? These are the adverse situations that prepare you for life and everything. So basically I said to myself, sorry, I cannot do that. For me, I can work hard, but I just cannot work in a toxic environment. If something puts me down, something puts takes my confidence out, I just cannot see myself working in that office.
right.
Yeah, so that's why I left those 2 3 offices in a day or two. I thought
Mm,
I am ready to work hard. I'll get a scolding for some good reason. I don't mind. That's not a, but unnecessarily, that toxicity, that you just can't. I'm not. It depends on the person. Maybe it might work differently for you, but
we
my
all have our non-negotiables. Yeah.
non-negotiable things, yeah.
Okay.
But you should work in an office, you should start from an office where you'll get a push, where you'll have someone saying, who where someone is investing on you. And
Yeah.
never think that if you are leaving an office because of this reason you're not going to go anywhere. That doesn't happen. Like, even if it's better to sit at home for 2 to 3 months, read a good book, doesn't matter. Join an office where you really want to work, where you'll have a positivity. That's a positive environment
Yes.
is the least we seek. Otherwise you'll
Right.
not even. And imagine at the starting of your profession, if you get that kind of a negative experience, you will always you will start thinking about the profession itself, whether you want to make a career in law or not. That's how it is. Okay, so let's suppose I had a good experience. I had a very good experience. I never faced such kind of situation, but I do know a lot of my friends who have faced this. Okay, but I cannot guarantee that everyone is going to get a good boss, right? So you have to adjust. That's not a problem, but at the same time, make sure that you are not losing on your confidence. Okay, you are not starting to doubt yourself. If you are doing that, please leave that office, sit at home, read a good book. Doesn't matter. You will get you'll get a good opportunity. So that is all fine. So yeah,
Yeah.
and as a independent lawyer, okay, the foremost challenge for you would be to procure the work. How are
Hmm.
you going to get the work? Okay. For that, obviously, let's suppose I belong from a particular hometown, let's say Punjab. So I might have matters from Punjab. Okay, and there are people who know me because in your law school or here in Delhi, you'll know mainly people who are already in the law background. They are not going to give you cases. Okay,
Hmm.
so you will procure the work from your non-lawyer friend or a distant relative or whom you would have known till date. So you work can come from anywhere. Okay, and for that the way out would be like I still follow that, in my limited experience, you need to have a good networking. Okay,
Definitely,
yeah,
yes.
you need to have a good networking. You should have your presence felt. Okay, write good articles. Okay, so writing is very important in that. That also really helps you. And I myself had got many matters because I've written various articles in Wire for the leaflet or the bar and bench, and people do approach you from that also. But this is the something along with the knowledge and everything. This is the something you need to work on simultaneously, and this you need to think in advance. It's not a job which you need to start when you become independent. When you're working with a senior or you're working with an advocate, if you truly see yourself as an independent lawyer 2 years down the line, so the journey is you need to have your presence felt. There's so many lawyers out there. Why someone new is going to approach to you, that you have to answer. Okay, so you
Hmm.
have to tell to that person what are you offering that a particular person needs to come to you. Obviously you will be getting cases through recommendation. Somebody somewhere down the line is going to recommend you. But these days you must know that client is also very smart. Okay, so he might have met 2 or 3 other lawyers. What different you can, different opinion can you give? Okay, so from my bosses what I've learned is you need to be very honest. Okay, you simply should not aim for the money. You should aim to get a good work. And as they say, money would follow. Like I still don't know about that money would follow or not, because I'm also into my young years into practice. But that is generally said. That is generally said about it. Okay, and you need to be very humble, even if you know some. I still remember. Okay, when I used to clerk, so Justice Joseph used to see. Let's suppose we were discussing a proposition. Okay, so we spent some 1 to 2 hours on that. Then we got at the end of it. Then we finally sort of decoded. Okay, this is what the way forward, and finally we have decoded it. So I would say, sir, thank you for teaching me this. Okay, I would have never known had it not been from you. So he said, no, no, never say that that you know anything. Always says you are learning everything new. So everyone is learning. Never say you
Hmm.
have learned anything. I am also learning. I am also a student. You are also a student. Okay,
How beautiful.
yeah, that's the approach, right? So yeah, you need to procure your work. And I would say you need to have a good backup. Okay, so it's only you who is going to decide when to take a call for the independent matters. Okay,
Hmm.
have your presence felt. Write good articles. Someone down the line is going to read that. They'll approach you through your email. And okay, I mean, share the things on LinkedIn also. Obviously, something purposeful. Okay, not that's also
Don't spam
equal.
people.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's also going to help. And yeah, focus should be. I mean, never treat any matter a small one. Even if you are doing a matter which you thought you will get, say, charge an X amount for this matter, but you have got a very less amount. Never think in the monetary terms. Think in the terms that you have got a matter. You have got an opportunity to present the facts before a judge. Not everyone gets that opportunity easily. Just go out there, be the best version of yourself. You never know who is going to notice you, who is going to approach you after that. Even that smallest of matters you get relief may take you to the bigger matter you would have never imagined, you would never thought about it. So never say no to a matter for the monetary purposes, that even if you're getting a less fee, doesn't matter. This profession, as is said by the senior lawyers, sky is the limit in that matter. But to reach at that position, you should also, work that hard. If you in the starting you will think about fees, you're never going to, because let's suppose if I think that this matter is only giving me say 5 to 10,000, what will I get out from it? I'll not be able to learn, or how will I be able to sustain myself? But you never know, this matter you argue, maybe this might take you to another matter, that person might recommend you to another matter. So for your own selfish reasons also, this is going to help you. For your knowledge also, this is going to help you. And if you're thinking in the terms of money, you're not doing justice to your client also. So
Mm,
if you're going for that approach, that somebody has paid you less, you're going to put less attention at the matter, it's wrong on your part. Either don't take that matter. If you're doing that matter, okay, do it properly. And
yeah, be ethical.
yeah, be ethical about it. Be ethical about it. And
Yeah.
just tell the client, if you feel that there is nothing in the matter, just tell the client there is nothing in the matter, in a way that if client wants that, still I want to take a chance, then go forward with it. Because if saying, let's suppose saying that, if I feel there's a 10% chance of success in the matter, and I portray as if there is a 80% chance, I feel this is wrong. I'm not commenting on everyone, any
Hmm.
other person. For me, approach should be, you just tell that person honestly that this is the way. If you want to go forward with that, for that 20% chance, I'm willing to put my 100%.
Hmm.
So that you can do. If you are very honest and you are starting your independent practice, people do remember that. Doesn't matter you win the case or you lose the case. If you are honest, it is going to help you in future. So it's very important to be ethical about things. And these are the things that make you going to help you in the long run. In the short term, you might get some opportunity where you can compromise on your say ethics, and return for some good money or something. You're lying about anything, but just don't do that. Even if you are in a financial situation, do something else, get money from something other, write an article, do some drafting, doesn't matter, but never compromise on your profession. This is going to help you. If I did a matter in which I was not ethical in 1990, it is still going to haunt me in 2020, even 25 to 30 years down the line. Never do that.
Yeah.
This is with many people. This I'm speaking from the stories of the great lawyers who have told. Okay, so never do that. Be honest about everything. Rest, if you're good, I think you're doing too good to do good. Do good.
Yeah, this is great advice, and like you said, it was passed down by senior lawyers. So thank you so much for sharing that bit with us. I completely agree with it. Any relationship, doctor, patient, lawyer, client, has to be built on trust, and you
Definitely.
cannot build trust without being honest with them. So thank you so much for that, Sakit. And I think one hour is up. I didn't even know where the time flew by. It actually did happen. I just saw.
Yeah.
um, Great, then, Sakit. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I hope you also enjoyed speaking with us. And yeah,
No, no, it was really a pleasure. Okay, and getting this opportunity to share my insights of whatever little I have learned. And see, the whole purpose is I still feel at those my formative years, probably somebody would have told me this. So no, so whatever I make it a rule. Even if I have an intern, I would tell him or I would tell her that please do this. No one is going to tell you that. No one told us. Only you will only realize it later. Please
yeah,
work hard. And there is no other way possible. Okay, and you will have to work hard. There is no alternative. There is no shortcut in this profession. But at the same time, just one thing, as as a independent lawyer, you have your good moments. Okay, so when you will get a fees, and when you get that message, something credited in your account, it's a good feeling. But more than that, you'll be happy about is, let's suppose you argue a matter, doesn't matter, you didn't get the relief, but the judge telling you, Mr. Counsel, you argued very well, that just takes care of everything, that makes everything worthwhile. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean work for those moments, I think. And money should eventually come, like that's what I mean. As I already told by some, have
Yeah.
that aim, do justice to your matter. And we
Yeah.
all are learning. I also aspire to double my efforts in every work I do. If I've read a book, I try to read two more books on a particular topic. And yeah, I mean, it's all sort of. It's not that I'm in a position to guide anyone, not even a first year student. I honestly don't think so. So it's just
You're
an
just being
experience.
modest.
No, I'm just saying it's an experience that I learned from. So I just wanted to share that. Probably someone might have some learning from it, and they will do better than what I did. And definitely. And again, thank you so much for hosting me. It was really, really, really a wonderful session. And thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so much. And to those watching us right now, this is Advocate Saket Jain from the Supreme Court of India, and he has shared wonderful insights with us today, right from being a law clerk, even before that, being a law student and a law clerk, and now having his own independent practice. He has shared with us amazing anecdotes and advice that he has gotten from his network, from his seniors. He has been generous enough to share that with us. So I do hope that you also had fun. And if you would like to watch similar videos every week, do subscribe to the LawSikho YouTube channel. I am Rishita. This is Saket. And thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.